Good afternoon. We're back from recess. Back from recess. We're back on second reading. Senator Barnett, you're recognized.
Madam Speaker, and good afternoon to my colleagues and everyone watching on this Biba Betness. Madam Speaker, at this time I'd like to make a motion to set aside Bill number 245-37.
We're still short of a quorum. Sergeant of Arms, if you could please check the senators. Session was called for 1 p.m. Yeah. We'll take a 1 minute recess. If the Sergeant of Arms could please check the senators. 1 minute recess. We're back from recess. We have quorum now. We will proceed again. We're back on second reading. We're on bill number 245-37. Senator Barnett, you're recognized.
Si Dios Masi, Madam Speaker, and good afternoon to the people of Etnas, to the people of Guam and our colleagues. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to set aside bill number 245-37, ma'am.
On that motion, is there any objection? Seeing no objection, motion carries. We're now on bill number 294-37 COR. Senator Shelton. Set aside. Is there a motion to set aside?
Madam Speaker, just at this time, while we're waiting for Senator Shelton, that we just move to set it aside and not lose its place, come back to it right after.
All right, on that motion, is there any objection? Seeing no objection, that motion carries. We're now on resolution number 218-37 COR. Primary sponsor is Senator Dwayne Sinicolas. Senator Sinicolas, you are recognized on resolution 218.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to make a motion to, I guess, move this to the voting file. Is that what, that's how we do it? Just give me a moment. A moment's recess, please, Madam.
1 minute recess. We're back from recess. Senator Sinicolas, you're recognized.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Sorry for the interruption there. This is resolution number 218-37, introduced by myself, Joanne M. Brown, Roy A.B. Kanata, Therese M. Terlai, Frank Bloss Jr., Chris Barnett, Amanda L. Shelton, Christopher M. Duenas, Joe S. San Augustine, Tina Rose Munya Barnes, Jesse A. Lujan, and William A. Parkinson, relative to reporting H.R. 522, supporting H.R. 522, Deliver for Veterans Act, introduced in the United States House of Representatives, which aims to cover the shipping and delivery expenses of adaptive vehicles provided for veterans with disabilities. Thank you, Madam. So, we had some really nice information given.
Just a minute, Senator. Can we raise the volume, please, on his microphone? Thank you. Please proceed.
Yes, ma'am. So, according to our good representative, Honorable James Moylan, he said that this is moving promptly through Congress, and we want to show our support for that and for our veterans. So. That's why we introduced this, and I ask for the support of our colleagues. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Just Masi, Senator, on the resolution, Vice Speaker, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I just want to thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to rise in support of Resolution 218-37 COR as introduced by the good Senator from Hogad. I do want to say that the veterans organizations have come together working closely with the good Congressman Moylan in reference to this legislation moving forward on H.R. 522. And the intent is to support the possible action by Congress to assist in the delivery of adaptive vehicles for Guam veterans and with disabilities. Madam Speaker, this issue, this measure has been talked about for quite a while. And in this efforts moving forward, the opportunity to give our veterans here with disabilities the opportunity to improvise their vehicles to make it ADA accessible is a very good thing. I understand that in this efforts of HR 522, the parts and the handling and the fees and the mailing of the necessary equipment needed for this adaptive vehicle will be covered. Even, if I'm not mistaken, even the charges for shipping will be included. So I stand in support to this effort, and I thank the good sponsor of this resolution 218 for giving us the opportunity to be a part of this measure, as it is a good measure to make sure that our veterans with disabilities have an opportunity to give the adaptive equipment to their vehicles and make that more accommodating for them. I think this is a good bill, and it will give relief to the Guam veterans of the cost of the shipping and delivery expenses. So thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank Senator San Nicolas for making me a part of this sponsorship animosity. And I ask our colleagues to please support this effort. It may be simple in measure, but it literally is big for the veterans. Sijus Masi.
Sijus Masi on resolution number 218-37. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Senator Brown, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I also rise in support of this resolution and thank the sponsor. Certainly our veterans in our community that have disabilities that need this additional assistance of having these type of adaptive vehicles that are designed for their use, whatever their disability might be, that will actually allow them more mobility around the island, especially those that are still able to get out there and drive. It doesn't make a lot of sense to provide the vehicle and then not provide the ability to address the shipping costs, because as we know, shipping costs are quite a significant amount. And then also, when you consider the distance, I mean, we're not in the mainland USA, and the distance that either the vehicle or the adaptive features that would need to be added to it for any particular veteran would certainly be quite an encumbrance and additional cost. So it's a very small resolution, and it's not very lengthy, but I think it definitely relays the key points that are needed to encourage Congressman Moylan's bill, hopefully, to move forward so that these costs can also be covered, and that our veterans here with disabilities will be able to get the mobility they need and live as much a quality of life as I think we all would like them to live, and they would like to live as well. So I certainly stand in support and thank the main author for his advocacy in moving this resolution forward. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Sijus Masi, Senator Brown. On the resolution, Senator Barnett, you're recognized.
Sijus Masi, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the author for including me as a co-sponsor on the measure, and I think it's a pretty great way to show the people how we can align with our delegates' office in really speaking with one voice to the federal government on this. It's a very important issue, as this resolution, should it pass, is basically the 37 Guam Legislature talking to the United States Congress and saying, hey, we want to see shipping and delivery fees waived for any adaptive scooters that are ordered by veterans. And, you know, I kind of got thinking in my head, what are we talking about? How much is the shipping and delivery? And if you go on to any of these medical assistance, medical equipment type of websites, and you type in adaptive scooter, they won't even tell you how much the shipping is. Like, you actually have to call a number for more information on a shipping estimate. So, you know, as someone who snoops around buying stuff on the internet once in a while, that means it's very expensive. And obviously, I think, you know, given how many of our people and veterans struggle with just day-to-day finances, obviously it's a cost that I think will be out of reach for many of our veterans. And Lord knows they've paid enough price in their service to our people and our island as well as our country, ma'am. So rise in support of the resolution and pray for its unanimous passage by the legislature. Sijus Masi.
Sijus Masi, Senator. On the resolution, is there anyone else who'd like to be recognized? If not, then the sponsor may close. Senator San Nicolas, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to thank my colleagues for their support on the measure or on the resolution, and I also like to thank Congressman Moylan for his efforts in pushing forward veterans issues. Like I said, when I first joined the military, I had no idea we had these benefits. And you know, it's like when I got to basic training, the drill sergeant said, "Are you crazy? You joined in a time of war." And that thing still echoes in my head. But I wasn't going to let my first cousin join by himself. I said, "Man, if you're going to do this, maybe I'll join you." And so, you know, a lot of us veterans, when we first join, you know, you join because of certain ideals or whatever, and then when you get there, and then you're actually just fighting to bring each other home. But I remember some of them saying that when you join the military, you sign your life away. You're literally giving Uncle Sam a blank check. And whenever we have an opportunity to repay our service members, our veterans, some measure of their devotion to the country, and we return that blank check. And you know, some of them come home disfigured and maimed, and you know, and just sometimes it just goes to the very spirit of your soul, you know. And that's why we have so much veterans issues. But I like to thank my colleagues again for their support in this resolution and the good works of our good congressman, and let's continue to fight for our veterans. This measure, or this resolution and the measure, would help to alleviate some of the costs of freight and purchases for our veterans, which can be very costly because we live so far out here. And I thank both this House and Congress for their compassion toward our veterans. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I'd like to make a motion to place it in the voting file.
Senator, on that motion to place resolution number 218-37 COR onto the voting file, onto the third reading, is there any objection? Seeing no objection, that motion carries. We're now on resolution 325. Senator Barnett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to move to set aside resolution 325 at this time.
On that motion, is there any objection? Seeing no objection, motion carries. On bill number 249, Senator Barnett, you're recognized.
Madam Speaker. At this time, I'd like to move to set aside bill number 249.
Senator. On that motion, is there any objection to set it aside? Seeing no objection, that motion carries. We're back now on bill number 294-37 COR. Senator Shelton, you are recognized.
Madam Speaker. I move to place bill number 294-37 COR on the third reading and ask for the opportunity to discuss the bill.
Please proceed.
Madam Speaker. Bill 294 is an act to add a new section 1040 to Chapter 10 of Title I Guam Code Annotated relative to honoring the service and sacrifice of women veterans by establishing June 12th of each year as Women Veterans Recognition Day. In addition to introducing Resolution 362, which recognized June 12th, 2024 as the inaugural Women Veterans Recognition Day, I also filed Bill 294 codifying this celebration going forward. Bill 294 requires the governor to issue a proclamation annually calling upon the people of Guam to observe Women Veterans Recognition Day. The governor shall appoint a Women Veterans Recognition Day committee to plan and make appropriate arrangements for the observance of this day, an effort that, according to BBMR, is administrative in nature and poses no fiscal impact upon any funds of the government of Guam. Bill 294 is about recognizing the service and sacrifice of our women veterans, which, as of 2023, the population of 2,066,000 was the fastest growing group among the veteran community. Since the signing of the Women's Armed Services Integration Act on June 12, 1948, which enabled women to serve as permanent regular members of the United States Armed Forces, more than 3 million have served in the United States honorably and with valor as members of the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Air Force. Madam Speaker, just recently, on June 15th, during the inaugural Women Veterans Day Recognition Day at Ipoh Beach Park, I had the honor of presenting Resolution 362, Bill 294's companion to the Guam Office of Veterans Affairs and representatives from our different veteran nonprofit community organizations. Madam Speaker, you were in attendance as well, and we saw that there were many emotions, many women who felt very deeply about this day, that they never imagined a day of recognition like this would come for them. The Bureau of Women's Affairs Director Jane Flores commented during the bill's public hearing, recognizing that giving our women veterans a day to honor their service to our country is a wonderful idea and a great start to what we as a community need to provide for these female warriors who have so willingly risked so much so that the rest of us can enjoy living in a free and open democratic society. Through the adoption of Bill 294, we recognize the contributions of women veterans to our nation and our island that will last a lifetime. And as such, it's the sense of this legislature that this first of its kind observance should be celebrated annually in perpetuity, ensuring the service and sacrifices of women veterans is never erased from our collective public memory. I want to thank all of our colleagues, Madam Speaker, especially the veterans of our body who are co-sponsors of this measure, and spouses of veterans, and all the women of this body who also sponsored this act. And I'd like to move at this time to add all the other senators of this body as co-sponsors.
On that motion to add the other senators as co-sponsors, is there any objection? Seeing no objection, motion carries. On the bill as amended, Vice Speaker, you're recognized.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise in support of Bill 294-37 COR and thank the good author from Ashton for giving me the opportunity to be a part of her co-sponsorship to establish an official holiday for women veterans. As you know, Madam Speaker, the growing population of women veterans should be honored for their service and sacrifice. As we set June 12 as Women's Veterans Recognition Day, I just want to note that throughout the period of history of the United States, Madam Speaker, women have proudly served the United States to secure and preserve the freedom and liberty of the people of the United States and all of its allies. Madam Speaker, I want to share that women have formerly been a part of the armed forces since the establishment of the Army Nursing Corps in 1901, but have informally served since the inception of the United States military. And then on June 12, 1948, President Truman signed the Women's Armed Forces Integration Act into law, enabling women to serve as permanent and regular members of the United States Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force. And as the retiring speaker spoke about what this recognition day will do for all our women veterans, I just want to say that my hat's off as we celebrated July 4th yesterday. I just want to give a shout out to all the women veterans that are here in Guam. I know my mom's sister was in the Navy back then, and back then after World War II, joining the Navy for women in the Corps was not an easy thing. And but she stayed in for at least two terms, and she did rather well. Today, here on our island of Guam, Madam Speaker, I think there's more women registering and enlisting into all the military branches to help support the freedoms that we live today. So, Madam Speaker, I rise in support of this Bill 294-37 COR and thank the author of the legislation for giving me the opportunity to be a part of that co-sponsorship. I'm not a veteran, a female veteran, but I am a spouse and a widow of a Air Force veteran. My son is an Air Force, an Air National Guard, Air Force veteran, Air National Guard right now. My daughter-in-law is a veteran of the Air Force. My grandson right now is in the Army, stationed in Germany, and is at the outskirts of the Ukraine-Russia war. But more importantly, Madam Speakers, we see a lot of women stepping up to the plate. We know that this is such a honor and a privilege that they continue to protect the freedoms we live today. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak in support of this measure. Si Jusan Binidisi. Thank you.
Mrs. Masi, Senator, Vice Speaker. And on the bill, Senator Taitui, you are recognized.
Sejus Masi, Madam Speaker, and good afternoon to my colleagues and those who tuning back into the legislature. This is one bill, I'm happy to stand up and support Bill 294-37. This bill is well-deserved of our women veterans. I just wish we had done this sooner. There are about 21 states right now who've already put this into law, states and territories, with the same kind of recognition in law, and I only pray that the other states will follow suit and territories will follow suit. Women have served side by side along with the men in the armed forces for decades, and often they were recognized for their supporting roles in the war efforts to accomplish the mission. Women in the armed forces are no longer content on serving in supporting roles, but have taken on the challenge of leadership among their peers. Several of the Guam women veterans actually come to mind, and I've met quite a few of them at the HMI luncheon we had on June 12th to recognize them. Agnes Diaz was the first female Guam Guardsman to be promoted to the Command Sergeant Major, who served as the highest ranking non-commissioned officer, alongside Esther Agagi, who served as the Adjutant General for the Guam Army National Guard from 2019 to 2023. Another female soldier of the Guam Guard is Sergeant Gloria Babauta, became the first female soldier from Guam to graduate from the infantry transition course. This career path is commonly reserved for males in the armed forces. Women, Madam Speaker, have been stepping into non-traditional jobs and roles for decades, while all being a minority. Most of them still experience discrimination today. But that is changing as women are proving themselves and their accomplishments that they made. There's a comment that I used to say when I was the director of the Women's Bureau, that women, each of us, should rise and help those beside us to rise beside us and rise up, to help those who inspire to do more, that we must help them rise to that occasion as women. Guam is a matrilineal society, so we have some pretty tough women on this island, especially from the South. They are tough. You know, at this luncheon, as I mentioned, I met quite a few of them. Some were retired and some were active duty. These women were amazing, I have to tell you. Not just what they've accomplished, but they had such a great sense of humor. Such a great sense of humor. I wish I could tell some of the jokes they told me, but I was told it was kind of inappropriate. But I wish I could do that. It was such a fun afternoon with these women, and so deserving. Women veterans not only deserve this honor, Madam Speaker, but also the recognition of being a vital contributor to the freedom we all enjoy today. Biba, women's veterans. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Biba. On the bill, is there anyone else who would like to be recognized on the bill? Senator Siniclis, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I too rise in support of this this measure. You know, when I first came back from deployment, you know, you go through these things, and some of them were counseling and all that stuff, and it kind of like it's like, where are the women at? You know, I think as you know, I think statistically. I think women don't come out as much as the men when it comes to seeking the help. And I don't know if it's maybe we don't have the programs or the initiative to encourage them to come out. But whenever I go to the CBOC or anywhere else, I always see it's kind of like lacking women. But I know that women equally serve in the military, and they do face some challenges. When I first joined the infantry, there weren't any women. And now you do. You see women walking around with the blue cords. And it's kind of, it's telling, you know, that freedom is worth the sacrifice. Freedom is worth protecting. That we will put our women in harm's way to protect freedom. And it's just amazing for me because, you know, never in a million years did I ever think, the notion ever crossed my mind that women would ever serve in the infantry. It just blows my mind till today. And I also know the challenges women face. And just having this recognition day for them, you know, I guess opens the door for them to be recognized, but not only that, but to help them, encourage them, and come out and seek the services that they so deserve. And I just want to thank, you know, all the veterans organizations out there, especially with Karina, you know, who's up there helping with HMI, and she's doing a wonderful job. And you know, she's like the only lady that I see veteran that really is pushing it, and it shows that, you know, that we can get more women to come out and participate in the in everything veterans. And this measure, this recognition day, just does that, and it highlights for them the importance of their efforts and bringing them to the table and getting them all recognized for the hard work and the sacrifice they do. And if we put our women in harm's way that way, I'm going to say, and it's very befitting that it's right after 4th of July, that freedom is worth protecting. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Is there anyone else who would like to be recognized on the bill? Senator Barnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Biba Betness, I just wanted to rise and lodge officially on the record my support for this bill. And to all the women veterans out there, Undonkulu Nasiduas Masi, thank you very much for your service. We'll become the second territory to install this day as a day of recognition honoring the women's veterans. And yes, there have been several states that have done it, but I like to look at it as not being late, but being Chamorro Standard Time. So thank you again to all the women veterans out there. Thank you so much for your service. And again, thank you for including me as a co-sponsor on the bill. Sidus Masi.
Sidus Masi, Senator. Is there anyone else who would like to be recognized on the bill? If not, then the sponsor may close on the bill. Sorry, Senator Kanata, you're recognized.
Oh, I just wanted to, again, officially announce my support for this legislation. I think it's a little bit too late, but, you know, at least we're getting it done. And I really want to support the veterans out there, but not only the veterans, but the families that are supporting their veterans. A lot of times we don't recognize the families because we sometimes forget them, but it's important and imperative that we remember all the families that sometimes give all the support behind the closed doors that we don't see, right? There's a lot of times these people go off and we don't know if they're ever going to return. And the families are always in that, psyched out position where they don't know whether they're going to come home. And that's a very tough time for a lot of families. A lot of young children don't understand. And that's the sacrifices that are made for our way of life, our freedom, and the fortunes we have today to live in having democracy and living in the United States. So again, I just wanted to issue my support, and I look forward to passing this legislation along with my colleagues, and that's all. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Sidus Masi, Senator. On the bill, is there anyone else who'd like to speak on the bill? If not, then the sponsor may close on the bill. Senator Shelton, Majority Leader, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to thank all of our colleagues for their support of this measure. And I want to give a special recognition also to Corina Balesta and Anthony Tyron of HMI, who held a separate inaugural Women's Veterans Day brunch and invited all of us as island leaders to join them and to celebrate Women Veterans Day with them, to listen to their stories and to share a meal with them in celebration of this special day. This bill, I know that many of us today have talked about how this is a late recognition, but better late than never. And I wanted to give a little background about it because last year I was honored to be chosen as a Council of State Governments fellow of the toll program. And while I was in this program in a leadership training, I met many other state leaders. And one of those state leaders was a veteran from Wisconsin who was the author of the bill there, the same bill as 21 states have this bill. And she made it her mission to find every representative and senator from the different states and territories who did not have this bill on the books yet, this law. And so she asked me if I would be willing, upon my return, to introduce this legislation to honor our veterans, our women veterans. And I told her I would think about it when I got home and hopefully introduce it. And when I came home, I was at a veterans event, and I was speaking to Colonel Joe Moffness. All of us know Colonel Joe Moffness, the governor's liaison to veterans. And I asked him if he thought this was a good idea. Should I introduce it? Should I do this resolution? Should I do this bill and make this a permanent day in our books, a day of recognition every year? And he encouraged me to do so. He pushed me to do so, and he reminded me a few times between that first meeting and the introduction of this bill. And when it finally happened, when it had its public hearing, and now that we have it to the floor, you know, he was very excited and asking us the status of the bill. So I want to give him also a special thank you for reminding us of the importance of veterans, for pushing us here in the legislature to do this. And my a friend from the Council of State Governments Toll Fellowship who made it her mission to pass this legislation in all of the United States and territories. So as a previous speaker said, we are the second territory, and I'm very proud today to have all of our colleagues of this body as co-sponsors, and I ask Madam Speaker now to move this to the voting file.
On the motion to move Bill 294-37 COR as amended on the floor to the third reading, is there any objection? Seeing no objection, that motion carries. All right, so we are now ready to proceed with the bills in the Committee of the Whole. Majority Leader, you're recognized. There are three bills for Committee of the Whole. Hopefully we can finish these on Monday all together.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I move to recess for the day and come back at 9 o'clock on Monday morning in the Committee of the Whole to finish these three bills.
Seeing no objection, is there any objection on that motion? Seeing no objection, we will recess until 9 a.m., Committee of the Whole.